I'm gonna be real. I loved making this video. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I am going to be reading and reacting to your headcanons, theories, and unpopular opinions. Now, I'm going to be doing more videos like this soon because this was a lot of fun. So be on the lookout for more questions. I'll post them to my community page. And I also have some plans for the new year that I'm keeping close to my chest for now, but I will be announcing those soon. So definitely be on the lookout for that because there are going to be many more opportunities for videos like this. This is kind of just testing the waters to see how well they go. But I like interacting with you guys, and this is one of the best ways to do so, by learning about what you think of Demon Slayer and theories and headcanons. So I'm going to be reading yours that you commented on my community post. Keep in mind, I am going to be honest but respectful, so if I disagree with your opinion or your headcanon or your theory, I'm very respectful about it. I do not care that you have that opinion if I disagree with it, so don't be offended if I'm like, I don't really agree with that. I will give you your reasonings or my reasonings why I disagree, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful. This is all part of content, this is all part of the video, and I might not agree with every single thing. But with that, let's start reading these. Alright, so number one, this comes from at RVN2311. Thank you for submitting yours. And they write, during the Hashira training, Tengen gives Zenitsu special training, especially after seeing his skills and fighting in the red light district. With his strong hearing ability similar to Tengen's, he teaches him the basics of sound breathing. It'll be easy for Zenitsu first because breathing depends mainly on super hearing, which is Zenitsu's ability. Secondly, because sound breathing is derived from thunder breathing, he can learn it in a short period of time. This will benefit Zenitsu's abilities and skills in the Infinity Castle. He will undoubtedly be flashy. Okay, so I like this one. I think this one is based a little bit out of canon. I believe it's in one of the light novels. There is actually an entire chapter dedicated to Tengen training Inosuke and Zenitsu during the time in which Tanjiro was still recovering from Swordsmith Village and the training had started. I think there was something kind of similar along these lines. I would have to go back and read it, but I do really like the idea of Tengen kind of taking the Kamaboko squad under his wing a little bit after the end of the entertainment district, just because he saw a lot of potential in all three of them. It was kind of obvious that he saw probably the most potential in Tanjiro, but he is our main character. And I do like the idea of Zenitsu kind of getting to learn some sound breathing from him. I don't necessarily agree with him actually learning sound breathing from him. However, I do think Tengen maybe tried to help him a little bit with just thunder breathing in general and learning how to hone in his hearing ability a little bit more. Kind of like Urokodaki did with Tanjiro, because Urokodaki has super sense of smell just like Tanjiro does, and it seems like Urokodaki also kind of taught Tanjiro how to hone that in a little bit more. So I do like this headcanon. I like the idea, again, of Tengen taking all three of them under his wing and kind of giving them a little bit extra treatment, a little bit special treatment that they might not love because it might be more work, but he sees a lot in all three of them and he's very proud of them. He's like a proud dad. Side note, from here on out, I think most everything else that I have here has manga spoilers in it, or I will be discussing manga spoilers when it comes to my thoughts about it. So if you are an anime only, this is your place to stop. I'm so sorry, but put a pin in this, and once everything's done being animated, my dog is shaking her head a lot. She's got itchy ears. Once this is all done being animated, just come back and watch this video at a later time. But that's your warning. Manga spoilers ahead. I wanted to add something really quick to that one that I just read, is like my headcanon is simply that Tengen became like a father to all four of them, really, and Nezuko is actually the favorite. Personally, I think that he visited Tanjiro quite often when he was still in his 2-month coma after the entertainment district, and he would like keep Nezuko busy with like playing games with her or something to keep her from getting like super depressed, because usually it was Nezuko who was always asleep, but this time it was Tanjiro who was asleep, and Nezuko wouldn't really know how to handle that. And then just like after the final battle, I headcanon that he visited them quite often, just making sure they were all good, they were all healthy, they were all treating themselves right, and that he also walked many of the young Kamaboko squad members down the aisle when they got married, like Nezuko specifically. But That's just my headcanon. All right, one more warning for manga spoilers, because this one is a pretty big manga spoiler, and I would call this is more of a theory than a headcanon, and this is from you_deserve_love, and they write, I genuinely think that if Genya was not there, the fight against Kokushibo would have been lost. He was the only one that could keep him in place for even a short period of time, giving the Hashiras time to defeat him. Also, if Genya wasn't there, Sanemi probably would have never shown up. He would have gone to wherever Genya wasn't, hoping to protect his only living sibling. Yes. So it's actually been a little while since I've read this part of the manga, kind of for multiple reasons. One, it's because this battle is incredibly hard for me to get through. If you know, you know. Obviously, if you're watching this video still, you know. Also, there's a level of wanting to have some time and space in between reading it and seeing it animated so that there's still moments that I can be a little bit more surprised by when I watch it. But I still very, very much agree with this theory. I think this is the case with every battle. Honestly, every single battle would not have gone the way it went if one person wasn't there. And this is a theme throughout Demon Slayer. Unlike a lot of other stories where the main character is kind of the chosen one, and it almost seems like they're the only ones with the ability to take on the the big bad. A good example of this would be Harry Potter. He's the only one with the capability of taking down the Dark Lord. That's literally the whole reason behind his story. And Avatar: Last Airbender, Aang is the only one with the ability to take down Lord Ozai. Demon Slayer is very different. Tanjiro, while he technically becomes the strongest at the end, he is not the only one with the ability to take down Muzan, and he cannot do it alone. And every single fight, except for like the fight against Kyogai, is built in a way where every single person plays a major role in that fight. And that's something that I love about this story, is that it's about humanity against demons rather than just good versus evil, because the undertones of Muzan's character is that he constantly pushes everyone away. He wants to be the strongest, the most immortal person and rule over the world, but he doesn't allow there to really be comrades. Yes, he has his upper moons, but he would kill them without a second thought if they did anything he didn't like. And he constantly makes sure that his demons don't band together, like that sort of thing. So he forces himself to be alone. And the theme of the show is that that was really his downfall. So anyway, when it comes to Genya, Genya absolutely played a huge part in the fight against Kokushibo, just like Muichiro did, just like Sanemi did, just like Gyomei did. Like, they all had major roles where if one wasn't there, they would not have beaten him. And Genya, with his very specific abilities, and also I think Genya being there also had Sanemi kind of fight differently, and he fought even stronger than he normally would to protect his little brother, definitely made a big difference. All right, next one. This is from Davi Check 2607. Thank you so much. And they write, so Hakuten messed up Mitsuri's hearing a bit when he struck her with that screaming attack that knocked her unconscious. As we have seen, Mitsuri has a lot of parallels with Ren and Goku. They both have overly passionate personalities, are hearty eaters, say similar things when ashamed. I could crawl under a rock into a hole. Basically like the same person. Rengoku's hearing got impaired when he fought the flute demon on his first mission, so I think it's a neat parallel if the same happened to her while fighting a demon, making her even more like her mentor. Although I wouldn't think it's as bad as Rengoku's case, where he always spoke loudly because of it. For her, maybe it's not just as sharp as before and wouldn't be worth mentioning. I like this. I do think that both her and Tanjiro should have permanent hearing damage after that fight. I not only headcanon that Mitsuri did have some hearing loss, I also think Tanjiro did too. Like, I genuinely think that he genuinely had permanent hearing loss. Both of them did, maybe even Genya as well. I think just Tanjiro got hit with more in general, and then Mitsuri got hit with the strongest. Yeah, I think they all had hearing loss from that battle. They just didn't really have time to address it because it was so close to that final battle. So I like this one. Okay, this one actually had me going when I read it. This one is submitted from Ani_Kuri_1101. Thank you so much. And they write, until season 3, Nezuko's theme never had lyrics. Now this may be intentional, making the key moment emotional. But I still noticed that this point was also the time that she could finally speak. So do you think after she turns back into a human, there will be a noticeable change in her OST? So I never thought about it this way, and quite honestly, I think you've hit the nail on the head of what Ufotable was trying to do here. The fact that we had heard her motif many, many times throughout the story, all the way back to the very first episode, but this is the moment where they introduce it with lyrics. Originally, I thought they just introduced it because this was a big moment for Nezuko, just like when they introduced Kamado Tanjiro no Uta in season 1 was a big moment for Tanjiro because he awakened Hinokami Kagura. I thought this was just like supposed to be kind of a special moment, but it totally makes sense that her song gets lyrics when she starts to be able to speak again. That could be us overthinking. Maybe we're just looking a little bit too deep into it, but I do really, really like that idea. As far as a noticeable change in her OST when she gets turned back into a human, I don't know if they will majorly change it. They definitely could. I could definitely see them using Kamado Tanjiro no Uta when he turns into a demon differently, and it could be very, very insane. I am looking forward to it altogether. Something that I'm looking forward to the most about seeing everything get animated is simply the fact that we're going to get OST. That is obviously something we don't experience when it comes to the manga. And something about Demon Slayer is that it always hits when it comes to the OST, especially in Swordsman Village at the season finale and the season finale of Hashira Training. If you know what I'm talking about, you know, like the soundtracks for those 2 episodes is just amazing and super underrated if you ask me. So I really like this theory. This is probably one of my favorite theories that I've heard, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with both the Kamado's OSTs at the end of the show when their roles switch with each other. All right, this is submitted from just_another KNY _ fan. Thank you so much. And they write, they wrote a few. I'm going to read the first one first. I don't know if I'm going to read every single one of these, but I'm going to start with the first one because it's adorable. When Tankano baby was born, Kaburamaru was fiercely protective of him because he reminded him of little Obanai. Okay. One way for me to... I love Tankana so much. They are everything to me. I love this idea. So I will admit, I consistently forget to include Kaburamaru in my fan fictions, and that's on me. I always forget until I'm like reading the story after I've already posted it, and I was like, I didn't include him, and he would be there. And I hate that for myself. But I love the idea that he was very protective of all their kids. I love the idea that Kaburamaru was kind of like the wingman for Tankana because he was Obanai Snake, and he never got to see Mitsuri and Obanai actually end up together. I like to imagine, like, he kind of was the one that made them make some physical contact for the first time and was like, yo! Because he would just wrap himself around both of them. And I like the idea that he's also very protective of Kanao, and he becomes very protective of Tanjiro, and he becomes very protective of other kids just in general because he's a good snake. And he's reminded of everything that he wanted for Obanai, and he wants all of that for Tanjiro and Kanao. So he sees it as a second chance to allow love to exist in the world and becomes very protective of them. So I love that idea. All right, I'm going to read 2 more. I've skipped over quite a few. If you want me to do a part 2, I probably will, just so I get to everyone's. But this is submitted by light_bulb1726, and they say, Senjuro fell in love with the 3 girls in the Butterfly Mansion and has 3 wives like Tengen. Okay, I think is it canon that he falls in love with one of them? I don't remember. Maybe that was just a headcanon that I saw. I do like the idea that he married one of them. I think that's a really cute idea. As far as marrying all 3 of them, I don't know if Senjuro would do the same thing as Tengen. So from what I'm seeing, it was legal until the end of World War II in 1945. So technically, Taisho era would then be during the time that polygamy was legal. So, you know, who knows? I don't know if Senjuro would do that. I feel like it was legal, but it was more of a family tradition than anything else. But sure, why not? I'm not against it. I'm not for it. And then the last one I'm going to read for this video comes from Anya_IRL. This isn't my headcanon, rather one I found online, but someone on Pinterest, their account name is Colgate Genya's Glock, said, one of the reasons Sanemi hates Tanjiro is because he reminds him of Masachika. Sanemi gets angry because all his past memories are resurfaced. Again, not my headcanon. I definitely agree with this one. I actually have had this headcanon for a little while, and I felt this as soon as I read the chapter in Signs from the Wind about Sanemi and Masachika. I was like, oh, it is clear that there are multiple reasons why Sanemi doesn't like Tanjiro. I think one of them is definitely the fact that it's not that it makes Sanemi go back and wonder if he could have saved his mom. It makes him go back and wonder why his mom wasn't able to control herself like Nezuko. So he's kind of jealous of Tanjiro, I think, and it brings up very hard memories for Sanemi, and those memories are why he's angry. But I also do think that Tanjiro definitely reminds him of Masachika. When I was reading that chapter, I was like, holy frick, like, Masachika and Tanjiro are very similar. They're always very positive, even in a situation where most people are going to be like, why are you being so positive? The smiles seemed very similar. Just like their outlook on life seemed very, very similar. And that death for Sanemi is very difficult for him to really come to terms with. And for Tanjiro to appear and to not only have a demon in tow that is able to control herself when Sanemi experienced that with his mother, but also for Tanjiro to be so much like Masachika, it's a slap in the face to him. Truly. I'm still going to make a video about Sanemi, and I've been putting it off for a long time because I need to write a script for that one, and I just haven't had time to sit down and write a script for it. But I promise you, in 2025, early 2025, there will be a video about Sanemi and why I think he's such a well-written character. But those are just little things. I definitely agree with this headcanon. I absolutely believe that Sanemi doesn't like Tanjiro for multiple reasons, but one of them is because he reminds him of Masachika. All right, so that is it for part 1. If you do want to be a part of part 2 and I didn't get to you, or you want to still comment on that community post, it's still posted on my community tab. Go ahead and comment your headcanon/theory/hot takes, and I look forward to making a part 2 to this video. But thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment your thoughts on everything I discussed today. You can also follow me on social media. I am at Hannah Malay on Instagram. As a reminder, I'm trying to hit 5K before the end of the year. So if you follow me there, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm at 4,800, so I'm 200 away. You can also follow me on TikTok on X. I am at Looking Nerdy on both of those platforms. Thank you so much for watching today's video. And with that, mata ne!